Dr. Ravi Gupta for inviting me to share some of my thoughts with you. I currently run a consulting company called Singapore Education Consulting Group. I was formerly the Deputy President of NUS and also a founder of one of the polytechnics in Singapore. I'm very conscious of the fact that we are running behind time and also conscious of the fact that I'm standing between you and lunch. So I will try to keep my presentation as concise as possible. I don't have a great many slides. Now, let me say that I'm not going to be presenting anything that is new. In other words, anything that you already don't know, because you are already leaders in the higher education industries. You are presidents, vice chancellors, provosts, deans, and faculty of various higher education institutions. So it's something that you already know. But the point that I want to make today is that if you want to make change and prepare yourself, your graduates, for the future, you cannot do it in an incremental, piecemeal way. It's got to be a big bang. It's got to be integrated across all aspects of the university. And you've got to do it in a very short time. And that is the gist of my presentation. You can all go home now. But let me explain to you. Let me explain to you why I think so. Okay? If I can get this working. Okay. Now, we all know the world outside higher education is moving faster than education. The world outside is actually quite changing so much. And let me quickly run through this. The pandemic has taught us you can now learn anywhere, any place. The concept of space and time in teaching and education has virtually disappeared. You can learn anywhere, you can learn anytime with remote learning, with flipped classroom, with online courses. You can take a course in USA, you can take a course in Australia, you can take a course from Singapore. You don't need to be in Singapore or the USA or Britain like it used to be 10, 15 years ago. You can actually register for a program at Stanford University, do the whole program, and you don't even have to go there. Perhaps you might want to go there for a small 1-week catch-up program. So learning any place, anytime is the standard now in the rest of the world, outside. The world's top professors and the world's top experts are now available to us on the click of a button. You can watch them on Coursera, you can watch them on YouTube, you can Google them and you can see a lecture, you can see something that they delivered, you can see them on LinkedIn. It's all the knowledge in the world is already available on your phone. Everything that you need to know, every content in the world is quickly updated on Wikipedia. It's quickly updated on Wikipedia. You know there are 30 million people who are updating Wikipedia every day. I met the founder of Wikipedia and I was quite amazed. That it's still going on. It's still going on without advertisements, purely by philanthropic donations. It's the world's largest knowledge repository that is updated real time. It's updated real time. Anything that you want to know is either on Wikipedia or YouTube or whatever. Okay? The only thing that you need to know is to have the skill of separating fact from fiction. Because there's so much misinformation going on. This is the new skill that you need to have. New services, new business models, new jobs are being created almost every day. I don't even know what new job title will be there next year in 2024. I mean, we have metaverse developer, we have content creator, We have a 27-year-old executive coach. I mean, people are using titles that I've never even heard of. And when you read the newspapers, you say, what does this actually mean? But there's so many new services that are being provided, unimaginable, that we never thought about. So imagine 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, none of us will know what new services are going to be there in the market. New work arrangements, especially with the freelance economy, the gig economy, project work-based economy. In other words, you work for a project with people from all over the world, you collaborate, and then 6 months later, you are in a new project. You don't actually work in a place. You don't actually work in a physical location. You work from home. You can work in a co-working space. You can be a digital nomad. You know, you can work in 3 different places. You can have an office in India, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Vietnam. And you could be moving across all of them. Nobody needs to know where you are. But you collaborate and you work together, and then you are in a project, and at the end of the project, boom, your whole team disappears, you are a member of a new team. Okay, the way of working is completely changing. The world outside is changing. And AI will make all intermediary jobs between the business and the consumer will totally disappear. And it used to be low-level jobs, like bank tellers and so on. Now, even the higher-level jobs will also disappear. So it's a huge danger for your graduates. If AI can write a speech, why do I need a speechwriter? Okay? If AI can write a poem, what do I teach in literature? If AI can paint, what do I teach in art? So the world outside, take my word for it, is changing faster than the world of education. Why is this so? Okay, of course, the last point is lifelong learning is critical. Okay, it's a must. If your university or college is just focused on a 4-year degree program plus master's and PhD, it's not going to be enough. It's got to be a university for life. It's got to be a university for life. You've got to recycle people through your institution forever and ever. So if you think that everything has been going very slow today, apologies to the organizers, the world will never be as slow as it is today. If you think today was very fast, if you think the world outside is changing so fast, okay, Sue Siegel says, this is nothing. It's going to accelerate. It's going to become faster and faster and faster. And those of you in your 50s and 60s and 70s, you better run faster and faster and faster. Okay? Get your sports shoes up and run. So, my position is that the institutes of higher education are not keeping up with this change. Okay, they are doing some incremental changes, a bit of project work, some university, some industry internship there. I teach you some presentation skills. I teach you how to do better this, a bit of better presentation. I will give you an entrepreneurship module so you can become an entrepreneur, and so on and so forth. This is just kucing kurap. This is just playing with the curriculum. Okay? This is not real change. This is not real change. Now, I'll tell you why. Because universities are inherently stable organizations. Not only universities, the whole of education. Okay, 100 years ago, we had classrooms with 30, 40 people. Today, we still have classrooms with 30, 40 people. 100 years ago, we had lectures with 300 students. Today, we still have lectures with 300 students. We have professors in front who have got nice titles, and we're doing exactly the same. Because universities are it's a steady ship. It's a steady ship. You don't turn this big super tanker around very easily. Okay, you can do small adjustments, but you can't turn direction very quickly. They don't move quickly or don't do it disruptively. And it has a built-in time lag because they're a 4-year program. So if you make any changes, it takes you 3 years, right? 3 years to discuss, get consensus, everybody agrees, go to the Senate, go to the Board of Trustees. Once it's approved, has to go to the UGC to get approved, and then it comes back. Then you implement it in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. By then, it is higher education 6.0. It's too late. It's too late. So all these incremental changes, small adjustments that you can do will not prepare your students for the uncertain future, because the future is definitely changing. You all agree with me? Let's do a show of hands here. How many of you think universities need to be reinvented? Well, I can go back already. Okay. So the big question is, if you are a university leader, president, provost, vice chancellor, how can you best prepare your students for an uncertain future that is moving faster than education? How? So I'm building now on the speakers of the inaugural speaking panel. Okay? So they talked about education 4.0. So now I'm going to the next level. But I'm trying to be as fast as possible, but I'm not going to give you a prescriptive answer. I'm not going to say, here is your 7-step method or 5-step method. Okay? I'm just going to trigger some questions, trigger you to think very deeply about what is possible, what you can do. So, reimagining higher education, and my answer is, you have to disrupt. If you don't disrupt your university, within 10 years, you will not be relevant. You will not be relevant. Look for me in 10 years' time. Okay? And what is disruption? Clayton Christian says, disruptive innovation is a product or service that is unattractive to the established leaders of industry. In other words, the leaders cannot disrupt. It's the people below the leaders who are going to push for change. Yeah, I can see so many people nodding their heads. Yeah, right. Yeah, make sure your VC doesn't see you. Okay? In other words, you cannot expect the leaders to change afterwards.
I'm just going to quickly shout out that when you disrupt, it also means your career is over.
Unless you are doing the disruption. Unless you're doing the disruption, yes. Then you can be a consultant like me. Okay? So, we have to rethink what the university should be. So it is not a degree factory. It is not like pushing 5,000 people out with degrees, in 20 different fields. Year after year after year after year, graduation ceremony. Every graduation ceremony is the same. Yeah, same. You can robotize the whole thing. So I think you want to relook at it to make the university a whole person developer, an institution that develops a whole person throughout life. Okay? From the time they come to you. And here I'm going to give you some possible areas where you can do this. Okay? So what is a whole person approach? Quite simple. Learning by failing. Well, let's start with this, problem solving. Just-in-time learning to solve new problems. So reimagine, if instead of teaching people in a lecture theater, you just give them problems to solve in small groups. Let them learn anything that they need to do to solve that problem. And then they present it. So when you have 15 groups presenting, each one will have a different answer. They have a different solution. What does this tell you? There's no one answer. I have to work together. I have to deconstruct the issue. I have to put together, I have to search for new knowledge. Where do I get this new knowledge from? I can go to industry, I can go to my professor, I can go and talk to government, I can talk to different people, and then I put something together. And you invent something new, and at the end of the day, you might even pitch to a venture capitalist for funding. If you can deliver your curriculum through a problem-based approach, you have actually created a problem-solving machine. And this is the only skill that they need to know. The skill when they go out to work, what do? They solve problems. That's all they do. But they don't use everything that have been taught in university. They learn just in time. Okay? Number 2, they have to learn how to learn, become a learning machine. They have to have an ambiguity for uncertainty, and they have appetite for ambiguity and uncertainty, meaning that they have to be resilient in the face of changes, challenging circumstances. Learning to able to build social capital. What does it mean? Learning to collaborate, to cooperate, to network, to shake hands, to talk, to introduce themselves, and so on and so forth. Lastly, to be entrepreneurial. What is entrepreneurial? It is learning how to fail and learning from failing, learning from failure. And you know what we do? We assess people on an individual basis. Why? You work together. You work as a team. How can you assess them on an individual basis? We try to assess each person as if they are the only contributor to the answer. It's not true. But in the middle here, everybody needs a core curriculum. They need a core curriculum of values, ethics, professionalism, info literacy, community service. They need all of that. Everybody who comes through you needs this core curriculum. So here it is, reinventing the higher education system. If you had no legacy, if you're given a blank sheet of paper, what would you do? You're all leaders, right? Forget about your experience. Forget about what you've done before. Redesign from scratch. Redesign from scratch. Professor, redesign from scratch. What is the student mix you would have? Would you have 18 to 22-year-old? Would you have international students? Would you have poor students? Would you have people from middle age? Would you have people from industry? Would you have machis and pakchis? Would you? Diversity, inclusion. What kind of people would you have? Number 2, what is the curriculum that you would teach? Not your learning outcomes. It's core curriculum, followed by let the student choose. Give him a choice, give her a choice. Give them a bigger choice of what to study, because you don't know what the future holds. So if you don't know what the future holds, give them something that is in their interest and in their passion. But if they don't know what is in their interest and passion, let them find out. Let them take 3 or 4 modules from across the university. Then they will say, this one I like very much. Then in the 3rd year and 4th year, they can zero in on that, okay? So pedagogy, how would you teach? Would you teach in a classroom? Would you teach in a lecture theater? Or would you teach in the field outside? Assessment, this is the biggest thing, right in the middle, because assessment is the curriculum. Do you know what I mean? That means how you assess and what you assess is what they learn. Not what you teach. Don't be fooled by this. What they learn is what you assess them on. So if you have to change your whole mode of assessment, why do you need exams? Think about it. Why do you need exams? Isn't it better to have portfolios? Isn't it better to have projects? Isn't it better to have industry collaboration and measure that? Get the whole wide world to evaluate them, not your professor. What kind of faculty will you recruit? Do you need PhDs? Do you need PhDs? What kind of facilities do you need? Let me tell you this, that after the pandemic is over, many universities and polytechnics that I know of, all the lecture theatres are underused because they have turned to flipped classroom. All the lectures are pre-recorded now and sent to the students before the class. When they come to class, it's all in small group discussion. No more 500-seat, 300-seat, 250-seat lectures. All the lecture theatres are sitting empty. They're sitting empty or being repurposed for something else. Okay, if you take, for example, library. Do you need a book library anymore? No. Everything's digital libraries. You get subscriptions, right? But your librarian still wants to have books. Sack your librarian. I'm a librarian, okay? I was the chief executive of the Singapore National Library Board. But everything got digitized. I digitized everything. Now, I can show you places where library has been repurposed into maker spaces, into laboratories for students to get their hands dirty, to make things, 3D printers and all kinds of things. So here's one example of a reinvented model. One example. First of all, this is the old Stanford model, okay? 18 to 22, you come and do your bachelor's degree. Later on, you go to grad school, you come back for executive program, da-da-da-da-da. This one is so flexible. It's flexible and personalized. The balloons above are when you come to the university. The balloons below are when you go to industry. So you start with 6 years. You pay to use whenever you want. In other words, I give you a subscription. I give you a subscription for 6 years. You're free to come and go attend any module in those 6 years. Then you go back to industry, and then you can come back. You can learn, or you can teach, you can do what you want, and then you leave when the outside world is better or more useful, but you come back, and then you pitch to re-enter. So flexible, so personalized. Now I'll give you 2 examples from Singapore. This is the Singapore University of Social Sciences, and they have done a complete review. They've done a complete review of what I told you just now, okay? All of that, total review. So they have started this College of Interdisciplinary and Experiential Learning. And let me read. The College of Interdisciplinary Experiential Learning has been set up to develop and oversee the delivery of SUSS core curriculum. Core curriculum. Core curriculum means everybody must do it, which means year 1 core curriculum, year 2 core curriculum, year 3 core curriculum. Everybody must do the same. For all programs in the university, drawing on the expertise of its multidisciplinary faculty and specialists, CIEL harnesses interdisciplinary approaches and perspectives, experiential learning to prepare our students for complex and dynamic futures, allowing them to embrace volatility and capitalize on disruption to contribute to the betterment of the world. So this is the new approach. In other words, no more emphasis on domain knowledge. It's on interdisciplinary knowledge, experiential learning, going out into the real world and learning, going out to other parts of the world and learn. Number 2. So this is my final conclusion. Incremental change is too slow and will have little impact. Start from a clean slate and make a bold moves. For example, NUS has merged its Faculty of Science and Faculty of Arts, the 2 largest faculties in the university, into one College of Arts and Science. Why? To allow the students free rein to choose across science and arts, to choose across humanities and the sciences, because that is the way of the future. Second merger, Faculty of Engineering merged with the School of Design and Environment to a College of Design and Engineering. All of this for interdisciplinary learning. Increase student choice of modules. In other words, students can now choose across the broad range of modules from the whole university. So instead of like follow this structure, now, okay, you can do across the whole university in the first year, across the whole university in second year. As you go to a third and fourth, you zero in on very specific areas. But it doesn't have to be a single discipline. It could be business with IT. It could be accounting with computer science. It could be design and arts. You can be theater with economics, like my daughter did. Okay, my daughter did economics and theater because she was so interested in theater. She hated economics. Okay, but she did it as a mix and match. So more personalization, more customization. This is what I call mass customization. Expanded student advisory and support services to maximize potential. So this is what we do. This is what we advise. At SECG, this is our mission to help education institutions reinvent themselves for the next wave. Thank you very much for your attention.